I'm going to talk to you through about some of the changes we've been making over the last year, what we're planning in terms of new features coming. So if you log on to the RAP today, I think it'll be quite obvious it's busy. It's been busy compared to if you looked last year. If you looked on, during our conference last year, there's a lot of new data there. We've released metabolomics data, which there's been a presentation on earlier today. Clonal hematopoiesis data, which is generated from exome sequencing. Pandora pre-processed brain images for 80,000 participants. Social interaction and focus questionnaire data for neurodiversity. A sleep questionnaire for 180,000 participants. And ML-corrected Dragon joint variant call for our whole genome sequencing, which has included PLINK2 and BGen formats, which are extremely popular for researchers. And that data is all available within the UKB-RAP. So several years ago, researchers would have had the option to download that. But as you can imagine, that's really big data. So with the increasing scale, we now need to bring the researchers to the data, making data access and compute more widely accessible. We have a cloud-based platform, which is secure and audited access enabled by DNA Nexus and powered by AWS, hosted in the London region. We have over 3,500 monthly active users and 2,500 projects active on the RAP at the moment. And within this, it's available to all approved researchers for access to publicly available UK Biobank data, including genetics, imaging, activity. But we've also been making some other changes over the last year in response to researcher feedback and to ensure that we have a platform which can cope with the increasing number of researchers and projects which we have we have underway. So this includes scalability and security of the platform, looking at supporting researcher understanding, and tooling for imaging analysis. And I'm going to talk you through some of these updates now, and then I'm going to look at some of the work we have underway at the moment. So in terms of scalability and security, we've introduced two-factor authentication, which really ensures that the platform is secure for users. We've enhanced scalability for job and queue management, which means that researchers are able to access their data quicker when they start. They're able to get access to the data even faster. We've scaled our billing support because there's so many more users who are wanting to access UK Biobank RAP now that we need to make sure that they can all get the support they need as quickly as possible. And we've also automated participant withdrawals. So until quite recently, to ensure that we're complying with participants who want to withdraw from the study, researchers needed to go in and manually go and remove participants on a regular basis based on automated withdrawal notifications which were sent out. And now this can be performed incredibly easily with just a click of a button. There's no need to update your overall project, no need to change the dataset version you have. You can press one button and you've ensured that compliance. In terms of supporting researcher understanding, earlier this year we have also introduced the UK Biobank RAP Conversational Support Assistant, also known as our chatbot, which assists in finding information from documentation, linking researchers to user guides and support teams where required. So you can ask questions about using the UKB-RAP, about understanding the UK Biobank data. If suitable documentation can be found, it will point you towards that. If not, it might point you towards the right support team to ask your question to ensure that your query can be escalated to the right people as quickly as possible. And we're also looking at how we can support researchers who are using code repositories. So we really encourage at UK Biobank researchers to share the code that they've generated as part of their research so that others can go and use that, so that we have continued sort of building upon the work of each other in a supportive environment. But to ensure that researchers are able to make sure that they're meeting compliance requirements, we've now made available a tool which will help researchers make sure that any code they're uploading complies with the guidance which we set out. And Lauren will speak through that a little bit more in her talk next. In response to feedback from the imaging community, we've also focused on providing more tooling for imaging analysis. So we've brought in 3D Slicer, which enables researchers to visually and explore multimodality radiology imaging data in 2D, 3D, and volume rendering views, and perform interactive segmentation of the anatomical structures and pathology with various tools. And on top of that, there's also MonEye now available, which allows AI-assisted data labeling to quickly annotate large imaging data sets. And you can validate and test pre-trained MonEye label models or MonEye bundles on project data. And the Imaging Symposium a few weeks ago went into both of these tools in a lot of detail. So for anyone who's really interested in that, I think the link's been shared already today, or it's available on our website. And there's also additional tooling and tutorials which we make available on the UK-Biobank GitHub. So this provides a wide range of resources, taking researchers all the way from sort of day one of having access to the UKB-RAP, how to find fields, how to access data, through to doing really advanced analyses using specific tools or specific new data sets. So in the last year, we've provided a SNP filtering tool in response to feedback from researchers who maybe aren't really familiar with working with genetic formats, but are interested in accessing a small number of SNPs to bring into their other analyses, to ensure that they are able to do this in a really quick and straightforward way without having to be really familiar with using genetic tooling themselves. When we launched the sleep questionnaire data, we also made available a specific Jupyter notebook, which provides a tutorial in accessing and using the questionnaire data. So from the week that the data was released, researchers were able to really quickly go and find and begin to understand that data and begin their own analyses as quickly as possible. And I'd recommend that anyone who's interested, who's working on RAP themselves, follows our UKB GitHub. There's a QR code there. We've got loads of tooling. We're updating it quite often. And also feel free to provide suggestions as well as to sort of tooling which you'd like or updates which you'd like to see. And we can help to sort of prioritize those. We've also had feedback from some researchers that maybe they find it hard to estimate their compute costs on RAP. So looking towards what we're doing soon, we're bringing in a tool which will help researchers work out what their computing costs will be using RAP, maybe for applying for a grant or understanding how much to ask for in credits, choosing your use case, configuring that to your project, and that will allow you to view the estimated costs. And you can have a look at some different settings and see what that comes to. So you can really begin to understand how best to estimate that. This will be launching in Q1 next year, and it will also include the updated rate card. So we'll have a small uplift to our rate card in January 2026, which will still provide an incredibly competitive cost for using the UKB-RAP, and is only the second very small change since procurement in 2020. And we've also heard feedback from researchers about accessing return data. So this was previously available in our download model, but has been much more challenging for researchers to get access to on the UKB-RAP. Researchers are obliged to return their findings to UK-Biobank to make them available to others. That means that someone who starts today using UK-Biobank for the first time is able to build upon the work of people who've been using the data for 10 years, that people are starting on an equitable plane and that they're able to continue to build on each other's work. We're going to be making access to return data sets via UKB-RAP possible in Q1 2026. This will enable users to access code and derive participant level results securely and easily within UKB-RAP. And also next year, there'll be some upcoming data, which is really exciting. So we'll be looking at bringing in ONT long-read sequencing data available into RAP, single-cell RNA sequencing data, proteomics, and additional step count and sleep data from accelerometry. And as part of that, there may be more tools you're thinking that you'd like to have available so that you can use these data more easily, or tutorials you'd like to see. And would really love to hear feedback from researchers as to what you need, what's going to be most useful for you in accessing these data and making the best use of it. And Lauren's going to talk you through next about sort of how you can best provide us that feedback. But yeah, it's looking very exciting in the next year. So thank you. Thank you.